all about writing with Ben and Sara.
Welcome to All About Writing, the podcast that covers everything about the world of writing from the inside out. This is episode 58, part 8 on our series on marketing. I'm Ben, here with my co-host Sara, who is an award-winning, best-selling author, screenwriter, editor, and TED Talk presenter.
And I'm Sara, here with my co-host Ben, who is an award-winning, best-selling author and ghostwriter, editor, and publisher. And today, with our series on marketing, we are going to talk about author newsletters. And it was funny, right before this, Ben was like, I do one. And I'm like, I know you do one. And he's like, do you do one? And I was like, yeah, I do. But the fact that you had to ask, did you sign up for my newsletter? I get yours.
Yes.
That's because I feel like I need to admit. So I gather news. I just got a request, for newsletters. I have a place where I keep all of my newsletter, subscribers. I generally post 1 to 2 newsletters a year because for 2 reasons. One, because I also have a newsletter with my cookware company, and that tends to kind of cross-pollinate because I usually put in in other news, I just had another book come out or whatever. So there's a little bit of that happening. So, and some people are on both lists, so I try not to hit them too much. And the other part is because bandwidth for me is just at capacity with the 3 kids at the ages they are, and I just am happy when I get out a newsletter.
Well, and this is one of the first things to, I think, address about a newsletter because we're all busy. So why do it? Why make this extra thing that you have to do? What is the advantage to it? So I have some thoughts. And by the way, my newsletter goes out about once a month. And yep, every month I get reminded, oh yeah, it's time to write the newsletter. And I have to get myself into the right headspace. So for any of my subscribers out there, I do like writing my newsletter, but it catches me by surprise every month. Like, oh, right, it's time to do that again. And so I have to sort of get into the right headspace and come up with something that actually means something. So why do it? Why do it at all? Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. Sara, why do you think it's good to do a newsletter?
I think it's a great way to just ping the people who care enough to sign up for your newsletter and remind them that you exist. And if they still haven't bought your book, or to remind them there's a new one coming out, it's a way to do promotion that's not on social media, and
Yeah.
it feels a little personal. And I will say, I forgot, I did start a Substack, which is once a month. So
Okay.
that's sort of, and people subscribe to that, which is similar. But uh, then that's just a little bit more of a softer way to remind people that I write, because you can put
Yeah.
kind of plugs at the bottom. But I think that it's marketing. It's marketing, but it's a tool to get in people's inboxes, because right now there's no other way to do that,
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think of the newsletter as a way to build a relationship with my readers because it gives me the time to actually write something of substance. My newsletters are sort of 1 to 2 pages long. They're long enough for me to actually say something of note. Unlike most social media, which is just a meme or a tweet or just something really short and hopefully pithy and engaging, but there's not usually a lot of substance there. I find the newsletters a great way for me to talk about something, and I always pick a topic. It isn't just news. This is what I've been up to this month. Sometimes it's that if I've done something interesting, but most of the time I'll pick uh, just a topic of interest. I know a lot of people who I talk to are aspiring authors, and so I'll sometimes talk about writing craft. Some of the things we've discussed here on the show. I'll pick structure. Let's talk about structure and what's structure all about. Um, or I will sometimes give an update on how my own writing is going. Because yes, you're right, this is a promotional tool. I do want to remind people that I do write books and there's a new one coming. And it's a great opportunity to talk about it without it coming across as like just crass advertising. He says, "Oh, by the way, I finished the first draft of the book. Isn't that cool? Here are my thoughts on the first draft." I'm not actually advertising the book, but I'm just reminding people. There it is. So yeah, building that relationship in a way that does not come across as advertising and legitimately lets people get to know you a little bit better.
Right, right. And I mean, that's a good point. I forget sometimes in the newsletters I might give a sneak peek on something that is going to be coming out or that I'm working on so that people get excited about it. And granted, they might not remember when the book actually comes out 6 months later,
Yeah.
but then when I ping that, when then you go back and ping them, that it might incite a sale a little bit more because they've already gotten a sneak peek. Um, and so I agree. That's a nice way of putting it, that it's a way to connect with your readers in a little bit more of an intimate way. I just think that, and I think that, people always ask, well, how do you get email addresses for these newsletters? And I think that that's a tool that I can't remember if Val talked about it when we had her on to talk about author websites, but it's usually part of your author website if you can build that into your website where people can just sign up, they subscribe to your newsletter. I'm usually very honest and I say you're going to get like 1 to 2 a year from me. I just don't flood your inbox. And um because I just don't have the time. I need 26 hours in the day. Um,
And
but
some people really appreciate that. Oh, just one or two?
yeah,
Okay, I can deal with that.
yeah, yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want to flood people's inboxes with stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah, there are some I get that I swear to God, these people are like sending emails to me like like there's a couple Substacks that are like a newsletter in a way because you get them in your inbox, but like I swear there's like more than one a day from them. And I'm like,
Wow.
what are you like? Are you just sitting on your computer and doing like that's amazing. Part of me is like impressed, and the other part of me is like, oh my gosh, delete. Like it's too many. So then I recognize, so I think maybe that's something to take away. Like with the newsletter, like you really don't need to send one every week. You don't need to, you can, but you might get a lot more people going like, oh my gosh, like every week, like I just don't have the bandwidth to read something every week from this person. So I think that's what's nice about this as a marketing tool, unlike social media, where like the advice is usually like you have to post a lot to really get traction.
Yeah.
Um, this is something that can be a little bit less demanding
Mhm.
overall comparatively to other marketing techniques out there for authors.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually, as much as I sort of, moaned about the extra work it is, I do actually quite like the newsletter. Every month when I do whip one up, I'm always pleased with it. After like, why that was cool. I enjoyed that, and it gives me a chance to share a little bit about myself and do a little bit of promotion if there's any to do, and just to keep my name on people's minds. Um, and one thing I do want to say about newsletters for anyone who's thinking of starting one is it does take patience. It is very organic to grow your newsletter. Like you said, have it on your website in a way people can sign up. Sometimes if you have something to offer for free, you can offer people, if you give me your contact information, I'll send you this free short story that is unpublished and it's just exclusive for you, something like that. If you have something like that, or if you have like art or imagery that you've done, just again something unique and creative which people can appreciate and don't mind receiving for free, then you can sort of entice people to sign up for your newsletter that way. But like you said, Sarah, it's just be honest and say, it's my newsletter. This is who I am. If you're interested in me and my writing, then feel free to sign up, and you'll get something from me every so often. But the key is it does take time. The your list of emails of your newsletter subscribers is I'm told again and again by marketing people that is gold. Like you really want that because that's the best way to get a message to people who actually do care about you as an author and are probably going to act on it, as opposed to just blasting it out on advertising or social media, to the world where most people just aren't going to pay attention.
Right, right. Yeah, you have an engaged audience built in because they took the time to sign up, which is what is so important about it. I do want to also maybe touch briefly on what you can use. Like there are tools for this. Like, it's an email. Um Usually you're not sending it directly out of your personal email. You
Yeah.
can depending on how big your list is, but there are I use Canva. You can use Canva. There
Yeah.
are there's and then I use it's like a constant contact. There are services that you can employ, and I know some of them up to a certain number of email addresses are either free or they are a nominal fee. Send in Blue is another one. There's a couple services that will allow you, and then honestly, and depending on where you live, certain countries require you to provide an opt-out service. So if somebody signed up for your newsletter and 5 years later is like, I don't want to get these anymore every month from this author and want to unsubscribe, they have to be able to do that. If you don't have those services, they're sending an email to you directly asking to be taken off the list, and then it is your responsibility to remove their email from whatever list you're using. But those tools that you're using, like Constant Contact, there was one Monkey,
Mailchimp.
MailChimp, thank you. Those actually handle that that they manage the list for you then.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, the beauty is that there are a lot of tools out there that are often free or inexpensive. And if you're making a little investment into building your newsletter and building your subscriber list, it might be worth a few bucks a month to pay for a professional service that'll just basically take care of this for you. So it is surprisingly easy to do. It's just a little bit of research into, Constant Contact. I've used them many times, MailChimp. Lots of good programs out there that can help you out.
Yes. Yeah, there really are. There really are. But I mean, other than that, you and I love marketing.
Sure do.
But I think it's, I want to say, you're going to get people who are saying you have to have a newsletter as an author, and you're going to get people who go, well, I mean, if it's one of the marketing tools you want to have in your arsenal, go for it. And then you just need to have a place usually on your website where you can direct people to sign up, because you can't send out a newsletter if you don't have subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah, my last thoughts on newsletter is it's a fairly easy thing to do because it's writing, which is what we all do as writers. It's not like I'm asking you to sing or dance or act. It's just writing, not even videos. So it's easy to do. It's in your skill set already. And there are lots of tools online that can help you do it fairly pain-free. And it does tend to work. It just takes a little bit of time. It takes some consistent effort, like most things in marketing. So I would recommend it to anyone out there who's thinking that it is something they want to try. Any last thoughts, Sarah?
No, I don't. Sorry. For some reason, this program put me on, I was on mute. No, I don't. I just think that, if you're going to do it, do a little bit of research, before you do, so that you're not playing catch up on the back end and going, oh shoot, I should have used a mail service, or oh shoot, I should have gathered different information on my newsletter intake form on my website. So that's the only thing I would say. If you're going to do it, do a little bit of not a lot. It won't take time to do the research, but kind of line up what you want to do. And the other thing that I would highly recommend, which we didn't touch on, but this is just a quick takeaway. If you're going to do it, maybe come up with a list of topics that you're going to want to cover for a few months, just so that you're not sitting down going, oh shoot, I have a newsletter due and I don't even know what to write.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Anyway,
yeah, always get ahead. Cool.
That's all I got.
All right, well, that's our show about newsletters today, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our chats, and feel free to leave a review because it really does help us a lot. You can catch up with Sarah at her newsletter and at sarahdahlman.com and on Instagram.
And you can find Ben at ben@artholes.com, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks again for joining us today. Please do reach out if there are any topics on marketing or anything else that you'd like us to cover. And we'll see you again when we next chat all about writing.
This has been All About Writing with Ben and Sara.